A few days back, we had something that I would call an internet apocalypse of sorts, and I feel like it's very important to talk about this. Since I promised you guys that news are staying on this channel while we also go out about our endeavors of doing things that may not come to mind at first thought, today we're gonna have a news video, and we're talking about something incredibly important, as well as some additional news. So without any further ado, let's get right into the video. So, a few days back on October 4th, Facebook completely went down. All of its domains and services ceased to exist, meaning if you tried to enter facebook.com, you wouldn't be able to. Not only that, but all of its sub-companies also ceased to exist. WhatsApp, Messenger, Instagram, and Oculus. It was something that I would call an internet apocalypse. All of the most used services on the internet all of a sudden just ceased to exist. Which is why we probably shouldn't be giving all of this power to one company, but we'll move on to that in just a little second. First of all, I want to talk about how it impacted Oculus as a company, because it impacted them a ton. While our headsets did still turn on, we weren't actually able to do a lot of things, which is incredibly interesting, because normally when you turn on your headset in offline mode, turn off Wi-Fi, you can still use the headset. The headset is perfectly usable in offline mode. I mean, I used it outside and had no issues, but this time, something interesting happened. Because we were connected to the internet, and the headset was constantly trying to connect to Facebook servers, a lot of things just weren't immediately possible. Things like VR chat wouldn't launch, and any game that used Oculus's servers in order to connect, grab your username, would not launch. Things like Virtual Desktop launched for some reason, even though they use your Oculus username. That's something interesting. But many people said they weren't even able to turn on their headsets because their headsets had for some reason signed them out and they weren't able to sign back in, making their headset essentially a brick. When I first announced this on YouTube, and I was pretty damn fast to announce it when I found out, just to explain to people, hey, your headset isn't broken, don't be worried, in case you were following one of my tutorials, since I did get a few comments saying I bricked your guys' headsets when you were following my Beat Saber tutorial, and I was like, wait a second, that's impossible. So I made a community post stating, hey, in case you're unable to load some services, in case you find something weird happening, don't worry, your headset isn't bricked, Oculus servers are down, as well as everything else. So it impacted people in very different ways. After I made that community post, comments instantly started flooding in of people telling me, hey, my headset is actually perfectly fine, I'm able to use it, no problem, all the way to people that were saying, I can't even turn on my headset, I'm getting the black screen of death, or I cannot sign in. I'm signed out, I cannot sign in, I do not see my apps in my library, and I cannot play anything. It was literally a scale of headsets working perfectly fine, only the features that cannot use the Facebook domains weren't working, to headsets not turning on. It was incredibly random, kind of like Facebook updates. Facebook didn't entirely tell us what was happening at first. They were just, oh yeah, we're aware that some users can't access the domain. And I was like, oh yeah, some users, you say. I think it's all users. And then we started getting reports of Facebook employees actually not being able to enter and leave the building because their cards weren't working, because Facebook uses Internet of Things and that was down as well. It was absolutely hilarious. I find it so funny that Facebook's entire ecosystem is based on these domains, and when they go down, they have no backup system for their employees inside their offices in order for them to be allowed to enter and exit buildings. Or at least that's how it was portrayed to us. You know, we get very little info about what's happening inside, so they might just be telling us that, yeah, we can't enter or leave, ha ha ha, very funny, but there's actually a backup system. I can only speak what I know. But going back to Oculus, because that's what you're all here for, I often wonder, what would happen to our headsets, to our Oculus Quests, if Facebook's domains went down? I like to think that the headset would be perfectly fine, and we would be able to use it offline just as we normally would. Use it as a PC VR headset, and as it seems, a lot of that is correct. You're still able to use your headset as a PC VR headset. That's if it turns on. Because things were so unbelievably random, you wouldn't entirely be certain. However, you'd be able to use it more as a PC VR headset than a standalone, since not even the store would load in. I mean, things like AirLink wouldn't work, kind of understandable since I assume that connects to Facebook's servers. Things like Link apparently did work, and things like Virtual Desktop worked for most people. So I think it's fair to assume that when Facebook servers went down, a lot of people's quests essentially became somewhat of a brick. Some people's headsets worked, but it's a stated fact on the internet that you're only going to go on the internet and complain if something is bad, if something isn't working. If something is working as expected, well, you're not going to go on the internet and complain because you just don't care. That's why there's way less positive reviews on the internet than there is negatives. It's just how it works. It's why I'm always so happy when a positive comment appears in the comments section. No matter what it is, it's just always such a nice refresher. But yeah, do I think it's fair that Oculus and Facebook are so interconnected that if Facebook's domain goes down, Oculus goes down as well? Well, I certainly didn't expect it. I thought they were entirely separate domains, and we did get a tiny little bit of info about what was happening, but I'm not technically skilled enough to go into that. We did also get this funny picture of Facebook's domain being up for sale, which I thought was hilarious, and they did get it sorted relatively fast. To be completely honest with you, I kind of enjoyed the end of the world. It was something different happening, you know? It wasn't just the same thing over and over again. Put a little spice into my life. And when I went downstairs and saw my mom browsing Facebook, I was like, how? Looks like she was one of the people that was actually still able to load it in and refresh it for some reason, even though the domains were offline. I was unable to understand that completely. But anyway, it's fair to say that I don't think we should be this connected to Facebook on the Oculus Quest. While, as I say in the past, I don't really care about the Facebook login. It's there, it's not going away anytime soon. I don't think so. As much as I would like that to happen, I think people should have the choice. But I don't think it's a game breaker, at least for me. It's not a deal breaker. I'm still gonna go ahead, I'm still gonna buy the headset. It's a fantastic headset for a fantastic price. But when something like this happens, it really makes you wonder, how connected are we to Facebook? We know we can disable the telemetry using something Basti created called Oculus, but this really shows you how connected Oculus is to that Facebook ecosystem, and it might be a lot more than we originally thought. Making a lot of our headsets, I'm not going to say all because quite a few of them worked, making a lot of our headsets quite useless if Facebook ever does go down. Making the future of our headsets, well, unknown to say the least, because we don't know what's going to happen with Facebook in the future. It makes you truly wonder at this point, do you actually own your Oculus Quest, or are you just renting it? Sure, this is how companies work, we know. Everything has a date of expiry. Everything has to stop working after a certain date, because if everything worked forever, well, the company would stop making money. That's just how things work nowadays. But it's nice to see Facebook also giving that root access, for example, to the Oculus Go. Makes me hope that in the future, when these devices become quote-unquote obsolete, we're gonna get root access to them as well, allowing us to completely unlink from that Facebook domain and completely stop something like this happening again sometime in the future. But it was certainly one interesting night, and I had a lot of fun when everyone got off Facebook, got off Instagram, got off all the other social media that Facebook owns, and came onto the Discord server. No, Twitter was bombarded. Twitter absolutely exploded that day. But that brings me to my final point about this situation. One company owning all the platforms. As much as you might not care, as much as everything happens in the background, and as much as this could have happened to literally any other company out there, Facebook isn't some magical entity. This literally could have happened to anyone. But it really just shows you how negative of an impact one company owning everything can have. If one company owns all the social media platforms, and that one company goes down, all the social media platforms go down. I'm not saying this is how it is now. We obviously have alternatives like Signal. For example, I use Signal, I use Telegram, we use Discord. But all the people relying on Facebook services, for example, I went to the pub that day and I was talking to the lady serving us our drinks, and she was saying she wasn't getting any messages and she was wondering what was happening. So, I explained the situation to her and she relied on those messages, She was like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna get like 1,000 messages flooding in after it comes back. So you kind of see where the problem lies. But again, this could have happened to literally any other company, but if all of these things weren't linked to that one company, this problem wouldn't be here to begin with. So, with that out of the way, that was an extremely long rant, but I really wanted to get into it. I really wanted to get into the nitty-gritty, spicy details, because I feel like this is important to say. I feel like it is important that we finally have this talk. Again, I often wonder what would happen if Facebook went down, and now we know. Let's move on to the next piece of news. The Lone Echo trailer is out before the release date of the actual game, which is really nice. I actually went onto that trailer, I watched it yesterday. I absolutely loved Lone Echo 1, and myself and quite a few other people on the Discord and in the comments section are very, very excited for Lone Echo 2 to come out. And it looks really good from the trailer. Like, I got goosebumps watching that that trailer the first time. It looks like they stuck to the story, stuck to the plot, and I'm really excited to see how well it works. So yeah, very, very soon, that's releasing October 12th, so I'm super excited for that. Next piece of news, Facebook Horizon has now rebranded to Horizon Worlds. So that's quite interesting. Not only has it rebranded, but it's offering $10 million to makers. Interesting. Facebook Horizon was a platform that was invite-only for the longest time, and I think it still is, which is interesting that they're offering that 10 million fund to encourage creators. And when I kind of reviewed it, people didn't seem to like it that much. People said, oh, surveillance, oh, it looks kind of like Rec Room, oh, there isn't that much possibilities. We'll just have to see what it becomes. I'm gonna be real with you, I haven't been in it for a long time, I don't know the updates that happened with it. Horizon Worlds is a new name for Facebook Horizon, and the company is removing support for Unity-based worlds, encouraging creators building with that game engine to seek release on the Oculus Store. When the social service first showcased on the Oculus Quest in late 2019, it supported worlds made in Unity, which were noticeably more complex and engaging than those made in VR using Facebook's tools. So that's that. This article is incredibly long, and I already see that the video is dragging out quite long, so in case you guys want to check it out, check out the links down below. But point being, Facebook has rebranded and is offering to creators. But what I want to know is, are you guys interested in Facebook Horizon? Do we really need another social platform? I can see that this is Facebook trying to connect with their whole metaverse platform. I bet Horizon is going to be a big part of their metaverse, but how many of you are actually going to be visiting it? How many of you are actually excited for Facebook Horizon? But yeah, that's that. Lynx is now being crowdfunded. It has launched its Kickstarter with a $500 price tag, which is actually a very nice price tag. The standalone headset is now promised for pledges above €425. To non-EU countries, the equivalent is around $500. Lynx initially included EU VAT in all pledges, but now offers a non-EU option, reducing the price tag by roughly $100. The Lynx R1 was initially announced in February of 2020 as a $1,500 product focused on businesses and professionals, but in July of this year, the company announced a radical strategy shift, removing eye tracking to significantly reduce the price and target consumers too. The headset uses the same Snapdragon XR2 found in the Oculus Quest 2 and HTC's Vive Focus 3, but whereas those headsets can only show a low-resolution black and white view of the real world, the Lynx R1 has two dedicated high-resolution color cameras for pass-through AR. It has a very unique design and looks like a headset we have never seen before, except for Lynx, of course, and is definitely something that a lot of people in the comments section and on the Discord have been interested in. You guys have been telling me you're following it very, very closely and are interested in the product. Well, now's your time to pledge for it on the Kickstarter. However, I do have to remind you, it's a Kickstarter. Sometimes companies don't deliver on Kickstarters. Even though I have high hopes for Lynx, just remember, it's a Kickstarter. And finally, just one little thing out there for you photography fans. This is just something I personally found interesting considering I'm into photography and I have a DSLR camera. Canon has made a $2,000 lens for shooting 3D VR video. That is something I've been saying for a while now, that I'm super interested in shooting 3D VR video, and our VR carpooling is going to, somehow pull into that. I still need to work with Basti to create that app. Canon will start shipping a dual fisheye lens with an estimated retail price of $1,999. In late December, they can shoot 3D 180 degrees video when paired up with the EOS R5 camera. So unfortunately, this is not for me because I've got a Lumix G7, but it's still incredibly, incredibly exciting. I am so looking forward to companies innovating and making filming in 3D stereoscopic video much more consumer friendly. Of course, $2,000 is a lot of money, but that brings it so much closer to the DSLR fans, and the quality is definitely going to be better than something like, say, my Insta360 ONE-R, because that thing is beautiful, don't get me wrong, I love it, but when you zoom in a little bit, you really lose out on quality. So I can see the benefit of lenses like this on DSLRs, and I'm really looking forward to, again, it coming out to the larger public. And that is going to be it for today's video. Thank you all so much for joining me today. I hope you all have a fantastic day or night. Make sure to let me know what you guys think about the topics we discussed today. I love hearing your guys' opinions. But yeah, if you guys liked the video, please leave a like. If you guys disliked it, I guess this button works too, but please tell me why down in the comment section below. If you guys are not yet part of our community, make sure to join our Discord down below. Make sure to join our Reddit, where I want to see you posting your spice memes. If you guys would like to support the channel in any way, shape, or form, we've got sick mugs down below that boost your FPS by 300% and merch that doesn't put a huge ad on your body. And I just want to say a huge, massive thank you to the Patreons once again. again, you guys help me out a lot creating these videos that I love and increasing the quality of the channel every time. And if you guys want to be notified about future content coming up on the channel daily, make sure to smack the subscribe button with your forehead, ding my bell, and see you again in the next video. Peace.